Hey guys, welcome back to our channel and thank you so much for watching today. For those of you who are new, my husband and I recently went through IVF. We have not done a transfer yet. We're getting ready to do our first frozen embryo transfer. So we're really excited for that. We've been asked a lot of questions about the grading of our embryos. And that is not something that our embryologist just gave to us. And so on our last appointment, we asked them what the grading was, and they gave us that information for the 3 embryos that we had. I should say. So we have that information, so I was going to share that with you today, as well as give you a little bit more insight as to, I guess, what my thoughts are as far as PGS testing goes. So if you are interested, go ahead and keep watching. Okay, so like I said, we have 3 embryos, and this is after PGS testing. So we sent 8 embryos off. Well, we had biopsies of 8 embryos sent for PGS testing. And when we got those results back, we only had 3 embryos that were chromosomally normal, which isn't a terrible number. I mean, we kind of hoped for 5 or 4. We didn't really think we would get 3, but we're grateful for it. And it is normal for some of your embryos to not be normal. So we did know that going into it. And I have a video update of kind of my reaction right after we found out. So if you want to go check that out, I'll link the video up here or down below. So yeah, like I said, we have 3 embryos. I'm super grateful for that, excited that we have those 3. We did get the grading results back after I asked my IVF coordinator for that, and she sent me over the information. So this is out of 8 embryos, I guess. She only gave me the information for the 3, but it says embryo number 1 is normal and is a quality, I guess that's a quality, I don't know. That's how I'm assuming they grade these, is like according to like quality. And I did some research on it, and it's basically how they how the embryo like divides, and I think there's some other factors, but I don't know, the research kind of confused me. Anyway, so those of you that know what these mean, you'll have more insight. Maybe you can give me a little bit more information down below in the comments. So anyway, embryo number 1 is an AB. And apparently AA is like the best, the highest graded, like the highest grading you can do on an embryo. And, but I've heard of people who have had AAs and they did not succeed with pregnancy. So it's not like a determining factor. But I did want to know this information. So number 1 is an AB. Number 3 out of 8 is a normal embryo with a BA grading. And then number 7 of 8 is a normal embryo with BA grading. So I have 2 BAs, 1 AB, which is, I think that's pretty good. I'm happy for that. Honestly, I don't know like how much this information really like will affect our whole outcome, but I just want to advocate for myself. I want to ask as many questions as I can. I want to be as informed and researched as possible so that no matter the outcome of this IVF cycle, we will feel like we did as much as we could. I guess there's so much that's out of your control that I feel like this helps me feel more in control by just researching and asking questions and that sort of thing. So anywho, that is the grading of our embryos. Now, moving on to PGS testing. I understand, and I'm realizing a little bit more and more why PGS testing can be a controversial thing, as well as an ethical, like dilemma for some people. With PGS testing, you basically sign off that once these embryos are tested, if it's normal or abnormal, that's all the information basically they give you as far as the chromosomal like makeup. So you sign off basically that any of the abnormal embryos will just be discarded. Now, it just sort of depends on your view of like what an embryo is. But for us, we just needed to know that we were doing every extra like amount of testing or whatever that we could afford and was available. And PGS testing for us just felt right. But I know that it's not for everyone. It's really not. And there are some things sometimes where I sit back and I think, like, do we really know that those embryos were not normal? Like, was that a definite thing? Does that really mean that they would have no chance of life, or no success? So I asked our IVF coordinator to send me the PGS test results on paper. She sent them over to me, and I was very grateful for that, so I could see it on paper. It's very what they give you is just, they go like, with each column they give you a little bit of information. So it'll like have your embryo number one, and then the next column will be how many chromosomes it had, and most of ours said like that it was missing a chromosome, or it had like an extra chromosome or two. Um, and so then it would just say and then it would say the gender next to that, and then it would say if it was normal or abnormal. And based off of what was going on with the chromosomes, it would be normal or abnormal. So five of our, actually, so four of the eight embryos had an extra chromosome or were missing a chromosome or two. So they were just told put as abnormal, which that makes sense. Most likely those would not, I mean, I think it's pretty definitive to say that they would not be able to implant, or they would end up in miscarriage, or they just, like, you, I don't know all the science behind that, but it's supposed to have 46 chromosomes, and so it would say, or 44. I'm losing my mind. I need to look at the thing. Each chromosome has 23, so 46. Yeah. Anyway, so then it also, so four of them had extra, or they were missing a chromosome. And then one of them, it was kind of like gibberish. I didn't really like understand it, but it said it was a haploid embryo, which when I looked that up, because it gives you like information below, like defining the words like that don't make sense to you, I guess. And it said that a haploid embryo, I don't know exactly what that means, but it just said that it would not be sustainable to life or whatever. So I guess just those five would just not be able to live. I don't know. But I still sometimes think like, are those results conclusive, and are they sure they did the test right? Because all they do for PGS testing is they biopsy the outer part of the embryo, which is, I guess, the placenta. So they're not even really biopsying like the baby part. They're biopsying the placenta, which honestly I need to do more research with that. But it makes me wonder, like, well, just how definitive is that test? Like I said, ultimately we are grateful that we did it. I felt like it was worth the money. For us, it was $150 per embryo to test that. So we paid about $1,200, I think. It was worth it for peace of mind. Excuse me. And but like I said, it's not for everyone. I think that if you are older than 35, you should definitely consider it. That's kind of what my doctor said. We're younger than that. I'm 30, Eric's 32. But for us, we just felt like we wouldn't be doing everything if we didn't do it. And we're glad we did it. Anyway, that is just sort of my spiel, kind of my thoughts right now on our embryos. We already feel like very attached to them because of the PGS testing, we learned the genders, and so that makes it even more, I don't know, real. These are like life, and they're ours, and I am very attached to them already, so we're just like praying and praying that all is well and all works out as it needs to, and that we'll be strong and be able to get through this and get our baby at the end. So Um, if you guys want more of a day-to-day update, you can follow me on Instagram. Tomorrow we're actually heading to our baseline appointment, which is the appointment I filled last month. So we're really just like crossing our fingers, hoping that everything looks good. My cyst has gone down and we can start the frozen embryo transfer process this week. So send me all your good vibes and your prayers, and follow along here by subscribing and clicking the bell to be notified when we update. I don't really have an update schedule, so we just update as things happen and as I need to like get things off my mind. So go ahead and follow us here as well as on Instagram, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.